Afternoon, everybody. I'm Abby Dolliver, Superintendent of Norwich Public Schools, and I'm thrilled to have special guests here today on the Dear Abby Dolliver Show. We are going to focus on the Norwich Public Schools Education Foundation, some of our general work with that foundation, and get a little history and a little forward thinking at the same time. We're also going to talk about one of the focuses that we've had, which is music. We are so excited to be able to hear from one of our musicians later in the show. And I'm thrilled to say that we also have several students here from the 6th grade academy at Teachers Memorial Middle School learning about our show. So in the future, we hope to see them up here with us. So let's start our discussion by having you introduce yourselves and what your role is in relation to the Education Foundation or its work.
Well, thanks for having us, Abby. My name is Mark Cook, and I'm president of the Norwich Public Schools Education Foundation.
And I just have to add, Mark, you're a parent who does everything.
I am also a Norwich Public Schools parent, that's right.
That's right.
Amazing. I'm Joyce Worden. I'm on the Board of Ed. I'm also ex officio on the foundation.
Great, thank you.
And I'm Allison Beit. I'm a music teacher in Norwich, but I'm also teaching instrumental at the middle schools.
That's great. So we're bringing instrumental music back with some support from the foundation, which we'll get to. And you're fortunate, and we're fortunate enough to have you, Allison, as our teacher. So we'll get to that. So Mark, we're going to start with you. If you could share a little bit about what is the Norwich Public Schools Education Foundation.
Well, the Education Foundation is a nonprofit, charitable education foundation, and we're here primarily to support Norwich Public Schools. We're a separate, distinct, independent entity from Norwich Public Schools, and we are comprised of community residents, Norwich Public School parents, teachers, some administrators, some members of the Board of Ed, who all have the singular interest and goal of supporting the Norwich Public Schools and the students. Maybe I'll read the mission statement of the Norwich
Sure.
Public Schools Education Foundation to give you a really good perspective. The mission of the Norwich Public Schools Education Foundation is to support the Norwich Public Schools in providing a challenging and enriching educational experience that maximizes the learning potential of every student and prepares each student to succeed in the 21st century. How do we do that? We do that by fundraising throughout the year at various pretty fun events. We just wrapped up at the end of October our Norwich Public Schools Education Foundation art auction wine tasting. It's a great time to get together and have some fine wine and look at and bid on some art and raise some funds. We do the Staff Follies every year. This year it'll be March in 2016. It's always a fun event led by Joyce, who does a fabulous job with the Staff Follies every year. It's not only a good fundraiser, but it's a good bonding opportunity for the NFA, for the Norwich Public Schools staff. It's always a great event and raises substantial funds for the Education Foundation as well. And we have an annual tag sale in July at Wequanic School, which is always a lot of fun, and we have gently worn Norwich Public School uniforms always available there.
Can I just mention one thing?
Yeah.
It amazed me. Can you talk about how much that tag sale made? It's not like a normal tag sale.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, several members of our board, as you know, take the lead there. Danielle Baudet-Sandoval, who's a Norwich Public Schools teacher at Mahan. Barbara Zegrzuski, who's one of the original founders of the foundation. They really take the lead, and a lot of us help out there too. And boy, I think we approached. We were over
1,700.
Yeah.
I was blown over. I really was.
And like I said, everything's affordably priced. We have gently used Norwich Public School uniforms there for the public, and it's a good time as well. So we try to plan out several fundraising events throughout the year, so that we're in a position to support the Norwich Public Schools through kind of a reliable grant schedule through the year.
Which we're going to come to. And we're going to come to a little bit more about the Follies since we get back pretty soon after the winter break, and all of a sudden we'll be getting ready for that.
New focus.
Right. Maybe you can back up for a second and just talk about what you remember as the start of the foundation, and then we'll get into a little more detail about other things.
Well, as you remember, Abby, you were a critical. You played a critical role in the starting of the foundation. You helped out both Danielle Bodette-Sandoval and Barbara Zegarzuski, who at the time were Norwich Public School parents who were concerned about budget cuts that the Norwich Public Schools had endured, primarily cutting out world language and instrumental music to Norwich Public Schools, and this was about 5 years ago. So those women were very concerned about the budget cuts and decided to do something about it. And as you know, they reached out to you, and you attended some seminars with the state of Connecticut, and they held their very first tag sale and raised a good amount of funds, and we formed the Education Foundation in April of 2011. So we've been in operation since then, and we've given nearly $29,000 worth of grants to Norwich Public Schools classrooms.
So as you talk about we'll get to the Follies after, but as you talk about giving back to the Norwich Public Schools, it's really specifically to classrooms. And Joyce, you've come with us to deliver, and
Yes, I did.
We kind of surprised people.
It's fun to see the teachers' expression, but see, what's even more amazing are the looks on the faces of the kids.
Correct.
And sometimes screaming.
Like
They're so
cheering.
excited.
Because the funds, it's Norwich Public Schools, but it's not like staff. It's directly something that will be purposeful in the classroom, such as instrumental music, such as instruments, such as refurbishing them, whatever it might be. Teachers will write a grant based on what needs are for their particular students, and then the committee selects and rates them according to what meets really the mission statement of the foundation in order to give them out. And then we surprise people with them. So maybe talk a little bit about the mini grants, either of you. Yeah. Maybe kind of.
Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, you know, we set out to create a very reliable grant schedule every year that teachers can depend on and kind of know it's coming and apply for. So we set up a fall grant cycle, and that window opens every year on August 1st, and it closes on September 30th. And it has several grants that Norwich Public School teachers can apply for. There are two $1,500 school community grants. Those are focused on student instruction and enrichment, parent engagement, and/or educator professional development. That program is funded by an anonymous donor who cares very much about Norwich Public Schools and the Norwich community. We're very happy to have them as a community partner, and we wouldn't be able to give out that $3,000 without that entity. The other components of the fall grant cycle, we make available no less than 5 and no more than 8 $250 mini grants, and that's for anything directly related to student achievement. What is going to improve student achievement and support the teachers' initiatives in that classroom? That's what we look for in the mini grants. Then we have another very generous charitable entity, the Joseph S. Catania and the Eileen Catania grant program, led by Joseph and Eileen's daughter, Joya Catania, who is also a member of our board of directors. And that grant program provides $500 each fall for a grant supporting a science-based curriculum nurturing students' interest in science. The other 500 that they make available every fall is a literacy-based grant, which is intended to support students' reading, writing, and critical thinking abilities. So that makes up our entire fall grant cycle. And we have another winter grant cycle, and that kind of application window for teachers is December 1st to January 30th of every year. Then we make our decisions thereafter. What we comprise of in that winter grant cycle is no less than 5 and no more than 8 $250 mini grants, again, to support the activities in the classroom that go towards student achievement.
Okay, thanks. So now let's take a little, that's a general, and now we have someone who's a musician with us, Joyce, one of your many talents, having been a teacher and a musician. You're still a musician, always a musician, right, and a teacher. And one of the focuses that Mark worked very hard at, and Joyce and the rest of the board with our staff, was to reinstate instrumental music in some fashion, and for our middle schools at least. Years ago, that was one of the non-mandated programs that had to be eliminated because of budget cuts. And we all know, based on research, and I don't know if Joyce, you want to say anything about that, how music impacts a student's abilities and grows their knowledge base all around.
Absolutely.
So.
In fact, there's so much to talk about, I don't know where to begin. I really don't. I think my role right now is Board of Ed. And for me, well, I'm so excited, and I truly hand this to Mark. He's like a dog with a bone. He would not let go of instrumental music. And it happened. And I thank you.
Thank you for your support.
But for me now, as a member of the Board of Ed, we can't drop the ball. And so we take what the foundation has done, and where do we go with it? How do we build it? And if we let it go, which we won't, and if we let it go, I'm feeling like I'm turned away from you. Then we really have done a disservice to our children, to the school system, and to the community.
Right.
Because for me, it's a source of pride, again, for the kids, for the teachers, for the schools, and for the community. And I pointed out when I wrote this that, and I'll never forget this, years ago when I was teaching, that feeling of pride, and I could see it on people's faces when the Kelly Middle School band marched in the parade for city functions, whatever it was. And it's a huge source of pride. Like I said, I could go on, but I want to talk about what you mentioned, so I'm just going to read this. I've heard it said that instrumental music is just an extra, and we have to get over that. But we all know that children build self-esteem and find success in different ways. What are we doing for a student who may not have the best test scores, but who is dynamite with a saxophone in his or her hand? Consider also the research, this is what you're referring to, that finds a direct correlation between playing an instrument and rising test scores. So it's this huge...
It's very important.
It's huge in so many ways.
And I'll just add this, when I was in 3rd grade, in Norwich Public Schools, I started an instrument. I was never very good, but it always gave me a place to go, a group to be in. I wasn't an athlete, so music was my place, my little niche at that time up through high school. So for whatever that was worth, I couldn't play well now, but it gave me my little group. So I think that too is important. But I want to make sure we have time to hear from Allison. Talk a little bit, now that you're handling this instrumental music program that has ballooned into great excitement.
It has.
And then I want to hear from Taylor, and then we'll come back to talk more about the program.
So right now we are offering lessons at the 6th grade academy for the 6th grade, and then Kelly Middle School 7th and 8th grade. We're offering flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and percussion as of right now. The lessons are during the school day. And there's also other staff members that are helping me as well because it ballooned, like you said,
Yeah.
and we have 110 students total, 80 at the 6th grade academy.
Unbelievable.
And 30 at Kelly Middle School.
As part of this discussion, I thought it would be really wonderful to interrupt some of our discussion and hear from a student in the real world of music. So I'm going to ask Taylor to introduce herself and to talk a little bit about how you became interested in music and a little bit about you and what it means to you to be playing. And then you're going to play for us. So it's up to you. Take it away, Taylor.
So my name is Taylor Wininger-Sieve, and I've picked trumpet because it's different than any other instrument that I have originally played in my lifetime. I've played the recorder a little and guitar, but I guess trumpet is more of an instrument that I have grown to like because I've had the opportunity to play not only in school now, which is wonderful, but out of school having the opportunity to practice and just gradually get better at it. And so what I really love about having music back into the school system is that it's different than just having academic after academic with maybe a few like art classes and gym. We get to now have a different kind of art, one that we can really connect to in our lives, and it's just different than anything we've originally had in our system, so it's very nice to have it.
We're glad that you took advantage of it among all your friends that did. So what are we going to hear today?
I'm going to be playing Merrily We All Roll Along and Hot Cross Buns, but put a little spin of my own on it.
Great. Now she's writing music too. Improvising. Go for it.
So here is the Hot Cross Buns.
Okay. Very good.
And here is now Merrily We Roll Along.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Are there other musicians in your family, or now you're with all different instruments? So I know you have a lot of talent.
Yes, there have been many musicians in my family. I have my mom, who's been a singer and guitarist in her life. My brother actually is playing trombone in the music class opportunity.
Oh, great.
And both my uncles are playing as well, drums and
Well, we'll
drums.
know when we hear about the CV band that is all of your family. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was great. Now we're going to continue with some of our conversations. So, Allison, we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about how it's grown, what you see maybe for the future. Are we doing, people always want to know about performances, and I know this is beginning, and I see the progress already that we see in Taylor, but a little bit about that.
Well, like we said before, the program is it's much bigger than we ever imagined it would be. The students are making great progress. We're hoping to, we are going to have students performing at the district's All-City Music Festival in March, and then we want to put on a spring performance as well, so that'll be in the works for sure.
That's great.
And we're hoping that the program can just continue to grow. It'd be nice to get as many students involved as we can, and I think even still, students have come up to me even in 7th and 8th grade, and they just didn't even realize it was happening and still want to get involved. So I think that there's a lot of potential for growth. We'll just have to wait and see where it takes us.
I think we are looking at our music curriculum. We are digging deep to see how do we expand it, how do we make choral music and instrumental music really in our 6th, 7th, and 8th particular, not such a broad general music. We need that too. But how do we really develop performers and students who are very confident in what they do and find something they like to do? So we've been having meetings about that, so that's encouraging. I also wanted to, just for you to touch on, either of you, the foundation doesn't pay salaries for sure, so we shuffle around people so that we can have Allison be our instrumental music teacher. But the foundation had a particular role in supporting instrumental music besides all of your advocacy. Can you talk a little bit about how the foundation supported the instrumental music program?
Go ahead. I'm not exactly sure, except financially. But
Yes, that's what I mean, but there was a specific role financially.
Can I just say one thing, and then you are the best to explain it. Sure. But what I found interesting, as I sat around our table for the foundation, was that there was some discussion about we could never afford that. We can't even talk about that. There's no way, and I see these problems. But I heard that, but what I heard more was, this is the right thing to do, and we're going to do it, and we're going to find a way.
Right.
That's what I really...
The positive talk and the positive action.
That's what I really appreciated.
You're absolutely right, Joyce, because it wasn't just the members of the foundation. It was Superintendent Dolliver, and it was all the faculty and staff of Norwich Public Schools, and it was the community of Norwich, the city of Norwich, who's had a really proud history of instrumental music through the schools, something that this city takes a lot of pride in, and that wasn't lost on the citizens of Norwich. Right. They came out and spoke, and they came out and supported our Adopt a Musician program that the Education Foundation had executed, which was simply raising money that would go towards the repair and refurbishment of instruments that were already owned by Norwich Public Schools that were so literally sitting in a room in one of the schools collecting dust. And so collectively we said the right thing to do is to bring those instruments out, get them in the hands of students for Norwich Public Schools. And so the foundation was able to pay for $4,500 worth of repairs to those instruments and get them into the hands of each and every student that needed an instrument and that wanted to play.
That's great. That's important. We have about 2 minutes left all of a sudden, and I want to make sure that we talk about other fundraising that we're doing and also our sponsors, because we have some very generous community partners that I want to make sure that we know.
Yeah, very quickly.
You go ahead with that. Can I just say, this is so quick. I just want to say a big thank you to this lady who has, as I understand it, Allison, as soon as this happened, as soon as she knew about it, stepped forward and said, I want to do
that.
Well, I'm a product of the music program. I don't know where it would be if I didn't have middle school band in Norwich.
But if we didn't have you.
That's right.
I agree with you. So anyway, I won't take any more time.
Okay, we have to wrap it up.
And I want to commend Kyle Gould, the other Norwich Public School music teacher who does an excellent job as well. Our community partners for the foundation are Chelsea Groton Bank, the Mohegan Tribe, the Joseph and Eileen Catania Grant Program, and the anonymous entity. Our sponsors are Norwich Public Utilities and Miss Beverly Goulet. And our friends of the Education Foundation are Brown Jacobson and Dime Bank. And we're pleased to have all those sponsors on board and supporting Norwich Public Schools, the Education Foundation, and the City of Norwich students. So we're thrilled. If you'd like to learn more about the Education Foundation, please go to npseducationfoundation.org, and you'll see all our schedule of events and how you could become a part and support of what we like to do. And
we'll come back before the Follies and talk more about that in another show, which is a lot of fun for all of the staff.
And really spotlights not only the foundation, but Norwich Public Schools.
Correct. So I want to thank you all for being here, Taylor especially for performing. Thank you.
Good job, Taylor.
Our staff, Allison, and our foundation members, board member. And I also want to thank our audience for watching. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.